Alright, let's take a look at these Ryobi Ridgid and Dewalt 3-inch cutoff tools. In this video, it is mostly focused with the abrasive disc on sheet metal. There is some very thick square tube and round bar, but most of the issues are concerning the sheet metal. If this is your first time buying an abrasive cut-off tool, I really urge you to watch this video from WorkSafe BC. These tools are extremely dangerous and people get hurt every day. People get killed from abrasive cut-off saws. So definitely please check out this video before you ever think of buying a 3-inch cut-off saw or a 4.5 or a 6 or even a chop saw. They are scary and dangerous. Here you can see the Ridgid and the Dewalt disc side by side. They both cut down pretty much to the exact diameter where the disc is unusable. Here you can see the Ridgid next to the Ryobi disc. The Ryobi definitely wastes a lot of disc. Just the way motor casing, it does cover up quite a bit of the disc, so you're not able to grind it all the way down. These 3-inch cutoff saws waste a ton of material, like these are all discs, just from cutting a door and a rear hatch mostly. So you end up with a lot of waste. I bet a 4.5-inch disc on a grinder would do all that work with maybe one disc, 1.5. This is a very good video. It is about plunge cutting versus gouge cutting and how to save your disc from prematurely wearing out. It's a really important video to check out because when I'm showing cutting up the door, I'm plunge cutting, and this is really where all the issues start up. All three of these cut-off saws, the Ryobi, the Ridgid, and the Dewalt, can gouge cut all day long with no issues, and nothing's going to stop their motor. Unfortunately, the Ryobi did go up in smoke. The Dewalt is definitely the most powerful of the three, but it has a big issue. And I was so curious about it, I messaged Dewalt on Facebook and I asked them, does this have some kind of anti-kickback? Because on the documentation online, on the ads, there is no mention of any kind of anti-kickback like they do have on their grinder. They replied back that they did put an anti-kickback brake on the Dewalt. So when you see it here stopping, I'm pretty sure it is not because of the power, it is the anti-kickback. This is really unfortunate because this is a very powerful tool. It could slice through this metal with no issue if it wasn't for this braking that it is doing. It's so obvious that there is something going on with the anti-kickback or however they've programmed it, that the Ridgid actually doesn't do this. Watch this. As soon as you drag the Dewalt backwards with the disc going forward, it will immediately shut down. It senses, I guess, some kind of kickback and shuts down. With the Ridgid, it loves to be dragged backwards. It's not shutting down at all. Knowing this has some kind of anti-kickback, that means I really have to take the pressure off the disc and let the disc do the cutting and not push the tool into the groove. Knowing this tool will shut down if I put any pressure on it, I really have to take the pressure off the tool and let the disc do all the cutting. In that case, it ends up being no different than the Ryobi or the Ridgid, where you could just put light pressure and let the blade do the cutting. In this clip, the Ryobi is cutting through 125 thick steel. It's thick, and I'm just gouge cutting like the fireball tool video. I'm just gouge cutting a groove, waiting for the material to thin out, and then I just kind of plunge the disc in. It works great with the Ryobi, and I'm not overpowering the tool, and for $125, you can't really go wrong. It is very unfortunate this Ryobi got smoked. I know one commenter said I wasn't even pushing it, so it must have been just from overheating, because it did do a lot of work. If we take the Dewalt out from the sheet metal, put it on some square tubing, here you can see as soon as it gets stuck, as soon as it starts to cut a groove and senses it's getting stuck, it shuts down. And I bet this is probably some kind of anti-kickback. I don't want to say this is because of lack of power, because it is very powerful. And then at other times you can see the power here. It can really cut through with no issue. On the round bar, it just didn't seem to pinch the disc as much as the sheet metal or the square tube. And you can see here how it actually just cuts through, no drama or problems. The round bar was the only solid material I was cutting for these videos. Alright, thank you for watching.